up on Bear News.
I think it's so common just because of blatant sexism. I think that especially in the service industry, we're not seen as people.
A report on workplace harassment locally.
We're an international tourist attraction, and right here in Greeley, and Greeley people don't know it.
Do you know about the Model Railroad Museum? We have all the information for you.
I might just cry, like drafted or undrafted, just to hear that I got an opportunity.
A conversation with a UNC Bear football player with NFL draft dreams. Bear News starts now. Good afternoon and welcome to the final Bear News of the semester. I'm Andrea Grajeda. Most servers have a story about a time when they were harassed in the workplace. We now go to Bear News reporter Matilda Preisendorf with some of her experiences.
Thanks, Andrea. Sexual harassment has become a hot topic over the last 5 years. Hollywood and politics have exploded with stories and claims of harassment in the workplace, but everyday people are experiencing this as well. I, for one, have been experiencing this for many years. I was barely 16 when it happened for the first time. My second shift as a host at a small Italian restaurant in Greeley. A man about 50 came in with a large group and within minutes was grabbing at my waist and telling me how pretty I was. He tried to give me his number and was visibly upset when I refused. I had a coworker walk me to my car for weeks. The second time wasn't even a week later, and soon I became used to the creepy stares and inappropriate comments. It didn't take me long to realize sexual harassment has become normalized in the restaurant industry. According to the United States Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, more than 170,000 sexual harassment claims were filed between 1995 and 2016. 83% of those claims were from women in the restaurant industry. A report from the Restaurant Opportunity Center United, a nonprofit that advocates for better working conditions in restaurants, shows that 90% of women in the industry have experienced some sort of sexual harassment.
I think it's so common just because of blatant sexism. I think that especially in the service industry, we're not seen as people, and especially women in the service industry aren't seen as people. So it allows men to get this idea in their head that they could just do and say whatever they please.
During the pandemic, many restaurant workers noticed a change in the way they were treated. According to a study by the City University of New York, 41% of restaurant employees reported a heightened amount of unwanted sexual comments from customers.
I can no longer show my facial expression of disgust, so now I can because the masks have been lifted, but at the time, I couldn't really show any emotion, and you can't really say or do anything when you'll get in trouble for it, so.
In the era of the Me Too movement, women feel more confident and heard standing up to harassment, but when jobs are at stake, it can be much more difficult.
I would also say freshman girls in particular, who are looking into getting a job around campus and the service industry, just be really diligent when it comes to looking in and checking reviews and resources. I leave a review for every place where I have experienced problems like this so that others don't apply and get thrown into that situation and then have to quit immediately and it's super, just in super awful situations. So just really do your homework about wherever you're applying and make sure that you feel comfortable and safe. No amount of money is worth you being put in an unsafe situation.
If you or someone you know wishes to file a claim for sexual harassment, visit eeoc.gov/sexual harassment.
Russian President Vladimir Putin announced a new missile claiming that he could now deploy nuclear warheads anywhere in the world. However, the Russian Defense Ministry says that the missile will not enter the Russian arsenal until after completing the testing program. The missile was first announced in 2018, but just started testing this week. This comes after Putin threatened countries that plan to join NATO or ally with Ukraine since he invaded. This is a very clear message that Putin is sending to the world, as Putin continues to threaten nuclear war to deter countries from helping Ukraine and getting Ukraine to surrender. Earlier this month, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky delivered a speech to the UN Security Council expressing his frustration with their lack of help. Zelensky said Russian troops were killing whole families and that there was not a crime they would not commit. The United Nations have made a request to meet with Putin as an effort to end the war. The UN has reported over 5 million Ukrainian civilians have left the country as refugees, but over 12 million civilians remain in active conflict zones. It seems like summer break is coming early for Greeley West High School students. Greeley West has been under a remodel for close to 2 years now, and the new building is set to open this fall. However, Greeley West students will have to end their school year early after a discovery was made. According to a letter from Greeley West principal Jeff Cranston, the abatement of asbestos is going to be more significant than originally anticipated. Because of this, Greeley West will have its last day on Friday, April 29th. This is weeks earlier than District 6's last day of school of May 19th. Students who need to recover credits or accelerate in classes will still have the opportunity to do so. Greeley West has previously had to close due to asbestos removal in 2015. The 2015 removal did not remove all the asbestos in the school, but any remaining asbestos was not of any harm. The UNC PR department is hosting an event at the Colorado Model Railroad Museum, and Bear News went to find out more. The Colorado Model Railroad Museum is a hidden treasure in Greeley that not many UNC students know about. David Trussell founded the museum on Memorial Day weekend in 2009 and was inspired by his dad who served in World War II. With the help of 15 volunteers and 280,000 volunteer hours, the museum was open to the public. Executive Director of the museum, Michelle Kempema, says the museum is an international tourist attraction.
We're an international tourist attraction, and right here in Greeley, and Greeley people don't know it. And UNC students, I think, miss that when they come to college, and I don't want them to miss out on this treasure.
The museum houses hundreds of railroad scenes, 500 scale-feet locomotives, 80 scale miles of railroad track, and much more.
Is that it's a living world. And it's miniature and it's small, but it has sound and sight and everything that would be in a world, and you get to walk within it and be a part of this miniature world.
This Saturday, the museum will be having a special event for UNC Bears. Bears will only have to pay $5 for entry if they show valid student ID. The museum will be hosting a raffle event with a grand prize of $100 to the UNC bookstore. The museum encourages Bears to explore the miniature world of wonder and explore the largest single-track model railroad museum in the country. Looks like I'll be on track to visit the Railroad Museum. Fraternities and sororities often get a bad rep, but how many of these stereotypes are true? Well, Dane Miller-Haas, the president of UNC's Interfraternity Council, is trying to change the negative perception of Greek life on campus. He says that being involved with Greek life has taught him how to be a better person.
Taught me a lot of life development lessons, became a more responsible person, more social person, just all around better, and I kind of wanted to give back to it, so I started taking on more and more responsibility, and I saw things that I loved about the Greek community, and I saw things I wanted to change, and that's why I kind of taken the positions I have now.
Miller-Haas says that because UNC is a smaller school, the Greek life community here is closer than at large schools like Colorado State University, which helps community members hold each other accountable.
I trust a lot of our community, and I think we've been moving in that direction. I know in the past at UNC there's been things here and there, but I think we've kind of taken a lot of steps to shape it in a lot more positive light recently.
But in the case that any misconduct does occur, Miller-Haas and other IFC members will work with UNC officials and police to make sure the situation is handled effectively.
We have a judicial system where we want to get to the bottom of what happened, and if there is someone who did something that's not okay, we want to make sure that they are removed from the system or otherwise taken out, so that that person is no longer a part of our community. So we don't want to be represented like that.
The IFC also takes active steps to make sure that everyone involved in Greek life is safe and supported in the community.
We do a lot of trainings too, like safety trainings. We've had ASAP come in. We have Greek trainings a couple times a month at least, where we learn the topics ranging from like personal finance to safety when you're going out, to have a good time, all that kind of stuff.
And each fraternity and sorority also works to make a difference at UNC and in Greeley at large.
We take raising money for good causes very seriously. There's always having events. Every chapter has a week where they have a chosen charity, and everyone comes out and donates to that and participates in fun little events and eat and all that kind of good stuff.
If you're interested in learning more about Greek life at UNC, visit the link on the screen. This Tuesday was one of our final one-on-one shows for the semester. Reporter Hunter Phipps sat down with UNC President Andy Feinstein one last time to discuss updates on campus, roundtable discussions, graduation, and more. One of Feinstein's hopes for our last one-on-one with him was that he would not have to wear a mask. After our first one-on-one in February, UNC's mask mandate was lifted and classes have been going strong without much COVID outbreaks.
We've been through so much together, and I'm glad to see it over, but I also know it's been very difficult for a number of our students.
Along with new updates, sports was something that excited Feinstein this semester. As the men's basketball game won the Big Sky Conference, Feinstein ran into their locker room to join in on their enthusiasm.
It's a privilege that the coach allowed me to walk in and just scream and yell with them and kind of celebrate in that energy and excitement.
Other events around campus that Feinstein has been a part of were the Thursday meeting and Friday rally to discuss program closures, low enrollment, budget cuts, and more. Since the meeting and the rally, Feinstein has put out a Frequently Asked Questions webpage, which answers issues that were brought up at both events. The Dean of Humanities and Social Sciences, Laura Connolly, has also put out a Frequently Asked Questions webpage, specifically regarding issues in the Humanities and Social Sciences College. Feinstein said that the UNC's higher administrators will continue to host roundtable discussions for the UNC community.
And I'll, be more than willing to listen to students, faculty, and staff, express their concerns, and do my very best to address those in a timely fashion.
The next roundtable discussion will be tonight in the Longs Peak Ballroom at the University Center from 6 p.m. to 6 p.m. As graduation is approaching, UNC's commitment details are different from past ceremonies. There is no capacity restrictions or tickets for the ceremonies. Mask coverings are optional, and students have been asked not to wear stiletto heels on the football field. What else can be expected for the ceremony?
There'll be a lot of hugs and handshakes and high fives. Hopefully there'll be some beach balls out there, and I welcome it.
There we go.
I welcome that, so let's have some fun.
Feinstein's last words to the graduating students is to be proud of their accomplishments and to be excited for future opportunities.
I like to end speeches and at events is once a bear, always a bear, and I really mean that. You'll always have a home back at UNC.
To watch the full one-on-one, visit our YouTube page, Bear News 98. At UNC, the main resources that are pushed to help struggling students is the Writing Center and professors' office hours. But there is another resource many students don't know about, and I went to take a look at this tool on campus. I'm standing outside of one of UNC's lesser-known resources, the Tutorial Services. The Tutorial Services provides extra help in classes ranging from math to musical theater. They help around 1,500 students a semester, and a study conducted by the Tutorial Services found that a student who used their service at least once was more likely to receive an A or B than those who did not. Director of Tutorial Services, Melissa Salazar-Hoffner, has seen how impactful the services are, but still struggles with getting the word out to students.
The hardest part of tutoring for us is getting students to know that we're here to help them.
The impact is also seen by the tutors themselves. UNC senior Alex Mazza recalls a time when he helped a student who was failing one of their classes.
They were, coming in being like, hey, I got a 70 on the exam. And then the next time it came around, hey, I got an 80. And then it was 90s. And then it was consistent of just high performing grades, and they were ecstatic.
The Tutorial Services is based on peer tutoring, which provides students with a more relaxed form of learning.
It is different because it's a student, it's a peer student who has been through these classes before. They have passed these classes, and now they're able to come back and help these other students.
While not widely known around campus, the Tutorial Services are great resources for those struggling with classes. So the next time you need help, visit their office in the lower level of Michener Library. I'm Andrea Grajeda, Bear News. For those who cannot make an appointment during their regular hours, they also offer nighttime tutoring from 5 to 8 Monday through Saturday and 6 to 8 on Sunday on the first floor of the library. Are you looking for something to do to procrastinate studying for finals? Well, you're in luck. Stay tuned to learn more about your next binge watch. stress of finals, I really need something to get my mind off work. Angel, what are your streaming recommendations?
Well, Andrea, as finals week and graduation inch closer here at UNC, there are always plenty of shows and movies to watch when you need a break from the studying and note-taking. This week, I'll be telling you about a couple of interesting films and a new sci-fi series that combines the best of two genres. Starting off over on Netflix, Choose or Die is the debut of British director Toby Meekins and stars Asa Butterfield, Iola Evans, and horror film legend Robert Englund. The story revolves around Kayla, a college student with a mother who falls into drugs after the death of her son and struggles to make rent. One day, Kayla discovers a retro video game offering a $125,000 prize if she can, quote, beat the boss. What Kayla doesn't know is that the choices she makes in the game start to affect the real world. Premiering on HBO Max next week is The Survivor, an original film from Academy Award-winning director Barry Levinson. This film takes on the true story of Harry Haft, a Holocaust survivor that was forced into fight to gladiatorial matches while imprisoned and later challenged the great Rocky Marciano. The film follows Harry's struggle to survive in one of the deadliest concentration camps during World War II and the fight to reclaim the life that was stolen from him as a boxer in New York. And finally, if you're a fan of the hit show Yellowstone and love supernatural mysteries, then Amazon's newest show, Outer Range, is made for you. Actor Josh Brolin stars in the series as Royal Abbott, a Wyoming rancher that becomes involved in a land dispute, including a mysterious black hole that causes several livestock to go missing. The first 2 episodes are currently available to stream, and episodes 3 and 4 will premiere on Friday. What new shows and movies are you streaming before finals week? Let us know on Instagram at BearNewsUNCO.
Thanks, Angel, for the recommendations, and we'll see you soon for the weather. You might know that the popular music festival Coachella is happening this weekend as well as the last. Now, Coachella is a music festival, but has also been deemed the Influencer Olympics. But Coachella didn't used to be mainly about what you're wearing and who you're with. So let's talk about the evolution in Coachella style. In 2012, Coachella Fashion valued functionality and being comfortable. We see comfortable dresses and pants, and of course, a Coachella staple, fringe. We also see a lot of cultural appropriation, not as cool. This time from 2012 to 2014 was one of the last community-rooted Coachellas. The fashion started to become a bigger part of the Coachella identity in 2017. The boho vibes are still there, but an excess of jewelry and doing the absolute most was the goal. In the later 2010s, Coachella truly became a brand, and the festival became more about manufacturing fun rather than the music. Don't get me wrong, Coachella fashion is fun. Disco boho in the desert is such a unique corner of fashion, and I love sparkles and glitter and campy looks. But it seems like the music festival has just turned into a place that tries to sell you fun rather than just being fun. The weather is getting hotter, and while that might be exciting, we need to keep an eye out for fire warnings. Learn more about the fires as the temperature increases when we come back.
I am the father of a 9-year-old little girl and a 6-year-old little boy, and I find fatherhood both relentlessly challenging and relentlessly rewarding. Both of our children came to us in amazing ways. My daughter is biological and my son is adopted. I love them both so much, from the morning when you wake up to putting them to bed at night, and every moment in between. It really is so special, and boy, is it exhausting. One thing that I fear about being a parent is the future for my children, because I think a parent's job is to protect our children, but also prepare them for the world so they become good, kind human beings. But I'm also hopeful that the future holds a more inclusive and compassionate world for them, and I know that they're going to make the world a better place.
This weather has been beautiful, Angel, but with everything good, there's usually something bad. So, Angel, is there anything I should be concerned about with this warmer weather?
Andrea, yes. As we start to move further through the spring season and into summer, it is important to understand some of the dangers and risks that come with dry heat and lots of wind. With the windy conditions we've seen over the last few weeks, the soil and land around Colorado has dried out significantly, even with median levels of snowpack from the winter months. In just April alone, Colorado is well behind its average precipitation levels as drought and water issues begin to start up around the state. Combine the dry soil with record-setting wind gusts and you have a perfect recipe for wildfires. More than a dozen fires have been caused across the eastern plains and foothills as the mountain snow struggles to make its way downstream. Colorado's regular fire season usually spans from May through September, but with such harsh conditions so far this spring, it's no wonder why fields and pastures are being set ablaze. And with that being said, as we head into the summer months, be sure to be extra careful when doing anything with fire and make sure all sparks are out before leaving. And now that that's out of the way, let's move on to my final forecast for this weekend here on Bear News. We started with partly cloudy skies today with the high just over 80 degrees with the occasional wind gust in the afternoon. Tonight we'll drop into the low 40s as the wind shifts from the southeast to the north. On Fridays, the winds will return as a storm front begins to move into the region, bringing gusts up to 35 miles per hour. The wind will cool off to near 85-degree temperatures, but it looks like we will be dealing with wind all day. We'll have similar conditions on Saturday with the high around 60 degrees, and you guessed it, more wind. Things will start to settle down on Sunday, as a mixture of clouds and sunshine make way for what should be another beautiful afternoon here in Greeley. Well, that's all I've got for you this week. Thank you for tuning in all year long. Remember to watch those sparks and have a great rest of your semester.
I was really hoping the wind would be over, but I guess that was wishful thinking. Coming up, learn all about a UNC football player and his potential career after college.
At the Writing Center, we work with students from all majors across campus. It doesn't matter what level you are. It could be first year, it could be all the way to your doctoral dissertation, and we help with all kinds of writing issues.
Being a student, I'm really introverted until I get out of my shell. In the Writing Center, I'm more out of my shell because I'm more comfortable in this space because we're kind of all similar, but yeah, we have different interests, and it makes me more comfortable to express myself in that way.
I think my favorite part is seeing so many different kinds of writing. I tend to obviously specialize on very specific kinds of writing in my own classes, so it's really interesting to see the broadest possible range of other people's writing.
Everybody could probably use a second set of eyes just to make sure that their ideas are as clear as you want them to be and that it communicates the idea that you want. So really the Writing Center is for everyone who has to write anything.
So Hunter, I hear that there is some excitement with some of our football players.
Yes, Andrea, at this time next week, 7 UNC football players will be sitting with their loved ones to see if they get the call to play professional football. But one player in particular has traveled a longer road than most to give himself an opportunity to play in the NFL. I sat down with him to learn about his incredible story.
For Comote Cafe, having an opportunity to go to the NFL is a blessing that long ago would have seemed improbable. Coffee was a toddler when his mother, Agnes, fled their country in the midst of civil war, but Comote almost didn't make it to America.
And Comote was standing there, all of them were just innocent. And she said, you know what, I'm just going to add a name to your list. But it's not up to me, it's up to the final interview, the immigration. So if they let you, if they say it's okay, they will let you know. But all I can do, I'm just going to add a name on the paper. But the original affidavit of support, their name is not on it, and that was it.
Things didn't get easier as they came to America and settled in the projects of Providence, Rhode Island, and were surrounded by drugs, crime, and violence.
So a lot of times we had a lot of friends, we was associated with people, or we had a lot of friends who was going down that wrong path. But me and my brother, we just had a bigger goal. We was determined, to be successful in life. So that was one of the influence that we had on each other. I mean, I held him accountable, he held me accountable. We just growing up, we were just hey, this is something we got to do. It's bigger than us. It's for for our mom, for everything she went through.
And that determination led him and his brother Quiddy to football.
That I was a JV kid. I was a freshman, playing on varsity, and all the seniors and everybody was hey, you're gonna be something special.
Coffee's passion led him to earn a D1 scholarship to New Mexico State and eventually transferred to UNC, and now is on the verge of entering the NFL. Something that his younger brother Quiddy accomplished last year when he was selected by the Colts with the 21st pick.
It was crazy, man. It was like a dream. It really was, man. The whole night, it was me and him was sitting up. We was man, it's crazy. It's like a dream. But it was definitely that hug was hey, man, you did it. You held up your side of the bargain, And he also told me hey, you're up next. You know, that was that like that connection. Like, hey, like I held up my part. Now it's your part. You know what I'm saying? Because we made that promise that we was both gonna, gonna do this thing. Was gonna both be successful.
Now it's Comote's turn to sit down and wait for his dream to come true.
I mean everything. I might just cry. You know, like drafted or undrafted, just to hear that I got an opportunity. You know, to go out there and to prove myself. I might just cry, man. It's gonna be like all my emotions, everything's gonna be like just let out, man. I probably just freeze on the phone. I probably won't even know what to say to him, like, because it's just the thing is, it's just been a long journey, man. So it's crazy, like when you have a long journey, you finally come to the end. Not come to the end, but you finally hit the goal you want to hit. It's just like, wow, like all that, everything I did was worth it.
Comote's journey is one of amazing resilience and drive. When you sit down and talk with him, his humility and desire to be great are some of the things that stand out, and the belief he has in himself is absolutely stunning. I wish nothing but the best for Comote, and I hope an NFL team gives him an opportunity to play. Moving on, there have been some major contract extensions in the NFL since the beginning of the new league year. Tyreek Hill now sets the market for #1 receivers with his contract extension averaging $30 million per season. Now receivers that are up for contract extensions are looking to cash in. 49ers receiver Deebo Samuel requested to be traded on Wednesday, and while the reason was not specified, some may guess that the contract offer from the 49ers wasn't what Samuel wanted. But with the price tag for star receivers going up, there are a lot of factors that come into play. First of all is durability. Samuel is a Swiss Army knife for San Francisco's offense and is a physical player. Samuel has also dealt with injuries, and with physical players, they typically don't have long careers. So organizations typically invest in employees who are talented and dependable. As talented as Deebo is, can he be relied upon to stay healthy? With his style, it would be hard-pressed to say yes. It isn't a knock on Samuel, as he is a valuable asset to any team in the NFL. But when making decisions for the future, teams have to consider all factors before handing a player millions of dollars, because the NFL is a business and management and owners can't afford to make wrong decisions. If Samuel plays another 10 years injury-free, then you pay the man. But as it stands, the 49ers want to keep Deebo, but may not be comfortable giving him top dollar. The Broncos back in the day didn't pay Julius Thomas because of his injury history and high price tag. The Broncos won the Super Bowl next year, and Thomas was never the same after. So while signing Deebo to a long-term contract will please fans, it may not be the best for the team long-term. As I always say, money comes and goes, but championships last forever. Deebo may get his money, but the team he plays for will have to sacrifice for him, and that price tag will be unveiled sooner rather than later. Well, this is it. For my final sportscast this semester, what better way to go out than with one final edition of Phipps' Picks. Today, I'm giving you my top 5 teams in baseball through the first couple weeks of the season. Now, I'm not saying that these teams can go to the World Series now. Let's pump the brakes. It's April. But these teams have impressed me so far and should have everyone on notice. At number 5, I'm putting the New York Mets. That's right, I'm a big fan of what I'm seeing so far. This team is loaded with talent, from Max Scherzer to Starling Marte and Pete Alonso, and they don't even have Jacob deGrom available to them yet. This team is loaded, and so far should be a threat in the NL East. Moving on to number 4, I have the Tampa Bay Rays. This team has been knocking on the door for the last couple years, making a World Series run in 2020. They're loaded once again and seem primed to make a run to the postseason. Wander Franco is a beast for this team and may be a dark horse candidate for AL MVP this year. This team's time to make a run is coming, and their start shows me that they are still capable. Coming in at number 3, the Toronto Blue Jays. Now this team is young and extremely talented and is my candidate to break through this year. They have a stud in Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who is another MVP candidate this year, not to mention Bo Bichette and Matt Chapman to go along with him. This team is only going to get better, and it would not surprise me to see them on top of the AL East at the end of the year. Landing in at number 2, I'm putting the Atlanta Braves. Now, you may look at the record and call this pick bogus and call me out, but let me explain.
This team is coming off a world championship, which means a shorter offseason. They're using a 6-man pitching rotation to get guys more rest, and they don't have Ronald Acuna Jr. from injury yet. But this team still has the power to make another run this year. Matt Olson has filled in well for the loss of Freddie Freeman, along with Dansby Swanson and Eddie Rosario, and a deep pitching staff. Their championship pedigree will prove valuable through the tough stretches this year. But I still can't take off the Los Angeles Dodgers from the top spot on my list. I mean, we all know what the Dodgers are. This team is pretty much an all-star team. You can't go wrong with Walker Buehler, Clayton Kershaw, and Freddie Freeman all on the same team. I would mention Mookie Betts and the rest of the gang, but I think you get the idea. They're hot to start the year and may be everyone's pick to go all the way. But that's all for sports. It's been an amazing semester filled with incredible stories, highlights, and yes, plenty of picks. Back to you, Andrea.
Well, Hunter, it is still early in the season, but I'll make sure to keep your list in mind. When we come back, join us in saying goodbye to one of the journalism professors.
I'm Jenny Garth, and as a mother of 3, I know kids worry about a lot of things. Getting enough food to eat shouldn't be one of them. But here in America, that is a real worry for 1 in 5 children. Even though we are one of the most food-rich countries in the world, 15 million children don't know where their next meal is coming from. This is unacceptable, and something the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks is working to solve. Instead of accepting that our country lets billions of pounds of surplus food go to waste every year, Feeding America has made it their mission to help families in need by rescuing this food. Through food pantries and meal programs, the nationwide network of food banks provides more than 3 billion meals, serving virtually every community in the United States, including yours. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank by visiting feedingamerica.org. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
With our semester coming to an end, it's not just students who will be leaving. Joining us in a new chapter of our lives is Dr. Edwards, as he will be retiring at the end of the semester.
For UNC journalism professor Dr. Dale Edwards, his students are his passion.
You know, I love teaching, I love working with students. I got into administration, and I decided really quickly I didn't like it. And so I went back to teaching full-time, and that's my real passion. It always has been since I came here. So I've been in higher education for more than 30 years, and that's always my main passion, is watching students grow and helping them grow.
Over his 30-year career in higher education, Dr. Edwards helps students like Austin Sack achieve their dreams in journalism.
I mean, it's kind of a trust relationship, and you kind of just have to give everything you can to Dr. E, and I got more than I could have ever asked from him. And so, you know, just completely grateful for the mentorship in that program and the years of experience he's had, you know, just feeding on that and just learning that. I wouldn't be where I am today without him.
But as this spring semester ends, Dr. Edwards will say goodbye to higher education as he retires in May, and his plans are thrilling.
Well, the first week I'm going to sleep, and then I'm going to eat, and then I'm going to sleep some more. You know, my wife and I have some trips that we are planning. We have some volunteer work that I want to do, and you know, still some books I want to read. So there's a lot of things we want to do, but it'll just be a different thing.
But before he sets off on his next adventure, Dr. Edwards hopes his students remember his teachings as they move into their future careers.
If I've positively affected students and had an impact in their life, and it's been a good impact on them, then that's the legacy that I would find and probably have the greatest joy in having that be my legacy.
And Dr. E leaves these words of inspiration to the graduating class of 2022.
There's always room for talent. And so don't ever let anybody tell you you can't succeed, because you can.
For many of us at Bear News, we've had the privilege of learning from Dr. E. From helping us develop our journalistic skills to joking around with us within the classroom, he has become a valued member of the journalism department. So, thank you, Dr. Edwards, for all that you have done for us, and we hope that you have a fun and relaxing retirement. Congratulations.
It's going to go out with a bang, and then it's over. And then we'll go on to next life.
We love you, Dr. E, and while we are sad to see you go, we are so excited for all that you'll be doing during your retirement. I wouldn't be here anchoring if it wasn't for Dr. E. Dr. E's voice class taught me what it means to be an anchor. He helped me become more confident and comfortable on camera. I'll be graduating in May and starting a new chapter of my life. I appreciate all the skills I learned here at UNC, and I can't wait to see what Bear News has to offer in the fall. I'm Andrea Grajeda, and it's been a pleasure being your anchor.